You've been told to be good, to be kind, to be selfless. You've been taught that goodness is strength, that helping others makes you valuable, that honesty earns respect. But Machiavelli would laugh. Because every time you followed that advice, every time you gave someone the benefit of the doubt, every time you sacrificed your needs, every time you revealed your true self, you made yourself weaker. You gave away your leverage. You showed your hand before the game even started. And the people who smiled while you helped them? They took note. They remembered your kindness, but not to repay it, to exploit it. Because in the real world, good people are not rewarded. They're used. Machiavelli knew this. And that's why he warned us. If you want to rise, if you want to dominate, if you want to lead, then throw away the rules they fed you. You're not here to be liked. You're not here to be noble. You're here to win. And winning means understanding the power of being a little evil. If you don't learn these 7 dark truths, your talent will be hijacked. Your time will be wasted. Your loyalty will be exploited. And your future will be stolen by those who were never more skilled than you, just more ruthless. You'll watch people with half your intelligence, half your heart, and half your discipline leap ahead while you stay stuck. Because you thought playing fair would get you ahead. But Machiavelli's world isn't fair. It's strategic. So if you're ready to stop being a pawn and start moving like a king, memorize these 7 evil secrets. Then master them. 1. Use kindness as a weapon, not a habit. Most people treat kindness like a personality. Machiavelli saw it as a strategy. He wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, when one of the two must be lacking. Not because fear is better, but because love is unstable. Love fades. Love gets bored. Love demands more from you every day. But fear? Fear respects silence. Fear studies your eyes. Fear obeys. Now, does that mean you should be cruel? That's where most people misunderstand Machiavelli. The true power isn't in being feared. It's in being unpredictable. When you show kindness without consistency, without reason, without predictability, people grow addicted to it. They chase it. They work for it. They fear losing it. So here's how you weaponize kindness. Don't make it your default. Make it your currency. Use it to reward loyalty. Use it to confuse enemies. Use it to gain silence. And then take it away when needed. Because nothing terrifies people more than a smile they think they've lost. 2. Play the fool to control the smart. You think intelligence is power? Not always. The real power is being underestimated. Because the moment people think you're naive, innocent, or distracted, they lower their guard. And that's when you strike. Machiavelli knew the danger of being visibly brilliant. A wise man, he said, should appear simple. Because when you appear too competent, people grow paranoid. They sabotage you before you get close to power. But when you seem harmless, they invite you in. So you must master the art of strategic ignorance. Ask obvious questions. Pretend not to know. Let others correct you. Let them laugh. Let them feel superior. And while they underestimate you, you're calculating everything. Their behavior, their fears, their habits, their weaknesses. Then, when the moment is right, you remove the mask. And by then, it's too late. They never saw you coming. Because no one suspects the fool, until the fool becomes their ruler. 3. Don't inspire loyalty, engineer dependency. Loyalty fades. Dependency doesn't. Machiavelli understood that relationships built on love or admiration are unstable. People admire you one day and envy you the next. But if they need you, if you've made yourself their lifeline, their shortcut, their guide, their shield, then they stay. Not because they love you, but because they can't function without you. That's control. That's power. And it lasts. Here's how you build it. Don't just help people. Make them rely on your help. Don't just give advice. Make them feel lost without your input. Don't just solve problems. Create systems they don't know how to run without you. And when they question your worth, you disappear briefly. Let them feel the vacuum. Let them taste the chaos. Then return and watch them cling. This isn't manipulation. It's design. Because the world doesn't reward usefulness. It rewards indispensability. Don't be impressive. Be irreplaceable. 4. Praise publicly. Punish silently. Most people reverse this. They criticize out loud. They correct on stage. They scold to assert dominance. And in doing so, they create enemies. Machiavelli never made that mistake. A prince should inspire respect through actions rather than words. Power is quiet. Authority doesn't yell. It whispers, and the room listens. So what do you do when someone disrespects you? You don't react. You reposition. You don't correct them in public. You cut their access in private. You delay their requests. You redirect their opportunities. You shift alliances. And you do it without explanation. The goal is not revenge. It's demonstration. Your silence teaches them more than shouting ever could. Your calm refusal is louder than any insult. Because the moment they realize your smile is optional, so is their safety. 5. Turn morality into a tool, not a rule. Morality is a compass. But in Machiavelli's world, it's also a costume. People believe the most righteous are the most trustworthy. But that belief can be used against them. The one who appears to be the most honest, the most caring, the most virtuous, gains unearned power. And once that power is secured, the mask can be adjusted to fit the mission. So don't flaunt your morality. Don't advertise your values. Let others project their ethics onto you. Let them assume you share their principles. Mirror their beliefs when needed. Reflect their fears. Agree when it costs you nothing. And once they trust you, once they defend you, that's when you act. You don't break your morals. You bend them until they serve you. Because in a world where people weaponize virtue, the only real sin is showing your true hand. 6. Make people feel powerful while you pull the strings. Machiavelli warned rulers not to crush rebellion with brute force, but with the illusion of freedom. Let people feel like they're in control, even as you guide every step. It's the art of soft power. The puppet thinks he's dancing on his own, until the strings tighten. So how do you do this? Give people choices, but only ones that serve your goals. Let them speak, but in rooms you control. Let them win, but only battles that don't matter. Praise them. Credit them. Let them feel seen. And while they chase that validation, you set the long-term agenda. You shape the outcomes. You choose the game. Never fight for control directly. Make them think it was always theirs. Because when people feel ownership over decisions, they defend those decisions. Even if they were never truly theirs to begin with. 7. Use silence as psychological warfare. The most terrifying force in any room is not the loudest. It's the one that says nothing. Silence triggers anxiety. It makes people talk too much. It makes them guess. It forces them to project. They assign meaning to every glance, every pause, every unread message. That's power. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Meaning, your presence is more important than your performance. And nothing builds presence like restraint. Learn to speak only when it benefits you. Speak when it builds illusion. Speak when it distracts. But silence? That's your real weapon. Because when they can't read you, they can't prepare for you. When they don't know your thoughts, they fear them. When they can't predict your reaction, they tread lightly. Silence isn't absence. It's dominance. And the ones who master it become legends. These are the 7 evil secrets Machiavelli would have whispered in your ear, not to corrupt you, but to free you. Free you from the illusion that goodness alone is enough. Free you from the myth that virtue will protect you. Free you from the prison of being understood, liked, and approved. Because in a world this competitive, this manipulative, this fragile, those who survive aren't the loudest, or the kindest, or the fairest. They're the ones who understand both sides of the game. Light and dark. Truth and deception. Mercy and war. Machiavelli didn't want you to be a villain. He wanted you to be dangerous. The kind of person who can wear a smile and wield a sword. The kind of person who can stay calm in chaos, silent in drama, and composed when surrounded by fools. The kind of person who can take power and hold it. So how does this look in real life? It looks like short answers. Delayed replies. Saying maybe when you mean no. Saying interesting when you mean irrelevant. It looks like watching more than you speak. It looks like smiling when you're underestimated. It looks like giving people just enough to keep guessing, but never enough to feel safe. You don't declare your ambitions. You let them think you have none. You don't react to gossip. You let it dissolve in your silence. You don't explain your worth. You let them feel it when you're gone. Because now, you've changed. You're no longer the open book. You're the locked vault. You're no longer the helper. You're the strategist. You're no longer the honest one. You're the dangerous one. And people won't always know what it is about you that makes them hesitate, that makes them pause before they speak, that makes them watch what they say. But they'll feel it. In the silence. In your eyes. In the absence of weakness. They'll feel it in their gut, and they'll know. This isn't someone I can manipulate. This isn't someone I can figure out. This isn't someone I can define. This is someone I can't afford to cross. Because you are no longer readable. No longer predictable. No longer controllable. And that is Machiavelli's final victory. The machinery behind control. Most people think power is about action. But Machiavelli knew the truth. Real power is about reaction control. It's not what you do, it's what you make others do without forcing them. The king doesn't rush to move. He waits. He watches. He lets others expose themselves. And by the time he speaks, the battlefield is already tilted in his favor. You don't rise by moving first. You rise by making your enemies move wrong. Let them act emotionally. Let them argue, expose, explain. You nod. You say, let's see how it plays out. And by the time they've emptied their energy, burned bridges, and exposed motives, you offer the solution. The door. The way out. And they call you a genius. Not because you were louder, but because you were quieter. More surgical. More calculating. That's the lesson. In every conflict, control the tempo. Slow the game. Turn fast enemies into fast failures. Because even storms get tired. But the silent pressure of strategy? That never breaks. The power of duality. Become two people. If you want to be feared, respected, and obeyed without ever raising your voice, adopt duality. Not deception for its own sake, but psychological flexibility. Become two people, the one they see and the one they never meet. The one they see is pleasant, humble, reasonable, easy to underestimate. The one they never meet? That's the mind behind the curtain. The strategist. The calculator. The one who sees the board 10 moves ahead. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." You need both. Your surface must be digestible. The way you talk. The way you dress. The way you smile. It must never alert the system. But beneath it, you hold the hammer. The chessboard. The blueprint. Because when people believe you're only one version of yourself, they stop defending against the other. Let them call you simple. Let them call you kind. Let them call you anything, as long as they never see what you really are. By the time they realize, you're 2 steps from checkmate. The strategic use of presence and absence. Most people crave attention. They want to be seen, heard, praised. But presence overused becomes weakness. What is always visible becomes common. And what is always available becomes replaceable. Machiavelli understood the economy of attention. He used his absence as a form of psychological control. When you're always around, people adapt to you. When you're rarely around, they prepare for you. They fear your arrival. They respect your scarcity. So you must learn to disappear strategically. Don't reply instantly. Don't over-explain your schedule. Don't attend everything. Miss things, intentionally. Let them feel the gap you leave behind. And when you return, say little. Observe much. Because power isn't in your voice. It's in what they say when you're not there. They'll ask, "Where have you been?" You smile and say, "Just handling things." And that mystery? That pause? That discomfort? That's power. That's presence without effort. Dialogue as a control tool. The art of the unanswered question. In every conversation, there's a battle happening. Not over facts, but over control. Who's guiding the direction? Who's reacting? Who's adapting? And more importantly, who's being decoded? Most people answer every question they're asked. They think that's respectful, polite. But Machiavelli knew, if they control the questions, they control your frame. Your goal? Disrupt that. Reclaim the frame. Here's how. When asked something personal, don't respond directly. Ask a counter-question. Redirect. Vague it out. You don't need to lie. You need to distort the lens. Someone says, "What do you want out of this job?" You say, "What do you think this role really needs?" They ask, "Are you seeing someone?" You reply, "You think that's important in this world?" They say, "Why haven't you spoken on this issue?" You smile, "I speak when it changes something." In every reply, leave them guessing. Make them work for clarity. Because the more energy they spend decoding you, the less energy they have to oppose you. The dangerous cost of being understood. People crave to be understood. They cry when someone finally gets them. But that craving? That vulnerability? That's where the world cuts deepest. Machiavelli's lesson was brutal. Being fully understood is being fully exposed. Once they know your blueprint, they know where to collapse the foundation. Your fears, your dreams, your habits, your beliefs. That's why he warned, never let them map you. Let them think they understand you. Let them feel close. But always leave a layer they can't touch. A motive they can't place. A goal they'll never guess. Say things that contradict. Show emotions you don't feel. Hide intentions in plain sight. Because when you're confusing, you're exhausting. And exhausted people stop hunting. The illusion of equality. Why power is always uneven. In friendships, in teams, in relationships, people say, "We're equals." But Machiavelli understood that's never really true. There's always someone driving. Always someone leading the energy. The one with emotional leverage. The one who can walk away faster. The one who knows the cost of staying is less than the cost of losing them. You don't need to control people. But you must understand where the weight of power lives in every relationship. And you must never let that weight tip against you. That means controlling your attachment. Holding the emotional line. Watching what you reveal. Pulling back when you're too exposed. And staying alert, always. When they sense you're independent, they chase. When they know you need them, they test. That's not evil. That's nature. So give what you choose. But never what you must. The virtue of ambiguity, confusion as a strategy. In a world hungry for labels, certainty, and clarity, the most dangerous person is the one no one can label. That's who Machiavelli would have made king. Someone who can't be boxed, can't be predicted, can't be recruited. People love certainty because it makes them feel safe. But when they can't pin you down, they treat you carefully. That's why ambiguity is terrifying. So make your story unclear. Make your opinions conditional. Make your loyalties variable. And never let people describe you in a sentence. They'll say, "I don't really get them." They'll say, "They're different with everyone." Even better, they'll say, "I don't know what they really want." Perfect. Because what they can't define, they can't destroy. The law of emotional economy. Feel less, win more. The world trains you to feel deeply. To emote. To confess. But Machiavelli saw how emotion, once shared, becomes a leash. It can be pulled, used, exploited. That doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become scarce, reserved. You choose when to feel, and who earns it. Someone tries to provoke you? Don't react. They ghost you? Stay calm. They insult you? Shrug it off. Because the moment you let emotion drive the wheel, they're no longer your passenger. They're the one steering. True power isn't suppression. It's selective exposure. It's knowing your anger could end someone, and still holding it in. It's having a heart made of fire, and keeping it behind glass. Not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. The cult of silent rise. How to win without praise. In a world obsessed with recognition, Machiavellians build their empires in silence. Not because they're hiding, but because attention burns too hot, too fast. It draws envy. It triggers sabotage. It awakens competition. So the smartest rise in whispers. Quiet execution. Small wins stacked consistently. They decline interviews. They avoid celebrations. They move like fog through a system of fire. Let them wonder what you're building. Let them think you're stagnant. Let them laugh until they look up and realize you're already there. By the time they see your elevation, it's carved in stone. Untouchable. Unassailable. Because you didn't win the room. You became the room. How to leave a legacy without noise. Most people chase legacy through fame, through applause, through monuments. But the Machiavellian legacy is different. It doesn't live in stories. It lives in systems, in culture, in quiet influence that lasts beyond presence. You don't need your name on the wall. You need your strategy in the air. The decisions people make tomorrow, those should echo your fingerprints. A legacy that can't be traced, can't be erased. So when you leave a job, let the structure you built keep growing. When you exit a circle, let the rituals remain. When people copy your silence, your moves, your detachment, you've already won. You don't need them to know you led. You just need them to move how you moved. That is immortality without applause. Walk as a presence, not a person. So now, walk differently. Sit differently. Speak less. Let your smile confuse. Let your pause intimidate. Let your stillness create storms. Be visible to all, but known by none. They'll feel it before they name it. They'll shift before they understand why. They'll fear you, quietly. And that's enough. Because in a world where everyone performs, you are no longer performing. You are designing. You are watching. You are becoming. Not what they want. Not what they understand. But what they cannot stop.